Hey pay to win gang, welcome back to another video. So for today's video, let's take a look at how we can deal with the Wither Messenger. So now I know a lot of you guys, you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be really hard stuck at some of the boss flaws. So for me, I was hard stuck at 55, but right now, I am definitely gonna be able to clear it. And I have found a very big tip that really helped to push my team to where it is right now. So right now, not only do I still have like 20 turns left, the boss is just like one more hit away. So that means I should be able to, you know, I'm assuming right here, but I should be able to beat level 60 as well. I think it's going to be possible with the current setup that I'm using. So let's beat the boss, and that's it. And let me explain to you how this works and what is the team and the strategy that I'm using right here. Before we get into that, it is very important that you have all of these stuff upgraded, because as you can see, we can get a lot of stats along the way by just making sure that you're using your resources a little bit more efficiently. So the way that I'm doing is just spreading out all of my resources just to make sure that I'm consuming as little of these spring essences as much as possible, or as little as possible, I should say. So it's very important that you try to push your Wither Messenger as high as possible at the start. Like on day 1 onwards, just try to push it so that you can get more of these AFK materials, AFK resources that you can use to upgrade the rest of your advanced strategies over here, right? Now, the second tip is that dealing with the boss flaw is very different from how you're going to deal with your standard flaws. So for your standard flaws, you might be running a team something like this. There's a lot of AoE damage, there is a lot of buffs, a lot of debuffs, there is everything, right? So it's easier for you to just clear the waves like super quickly, because they are honestly not the bottleneck in this current content. So the main bottleneck is definitely each of the boss flaws, which happens on every 5th floor. So what you have to understand is you will need to switch your espers up all the time. You have to keep doing it just to make sure that you're using the right espers in the boss wave, and you're using other espers for clearing all of these other like trash floors, so to speak. Okay, so now that we are on the 60th floor, this is probably a team that you might be running right now, right? So you'll be using, okay, you might not have the Yun Chuan here. You might not have the Yun Chuan here. You might be using Ahmed, you might be using Sienna, you might be using Gabrielle, you might be using KFC, you might be using some other DPS, maybe you're using Ophelia or Lin maybe? But this is not the right setup, I would think, if you want to beat this boss, because there are several reasons why this boss is so broken. So number 1, the boss gives himself a shit ton of buffs on his first skill. So he gives himself attack up buff, defense up, speed up for 2 turns. So ideally you need to either buff block him or have a lot of buff strip. So that's why I'm using Yun Chuan over here. He has a very consistent buff strip, which is perfect. You can use Li Guang as well, she's also pretty decent. You can use some other espers that exist, like maybe, I think Lin also buff strips. But this is just one of the reasons why he is so broken. And the other thing is, like, he deals a lot of damage. He has a lot of defense buff on himself. So if he's not on the locked on status, his defense actually goes up by 300%. And that makes him a very difficult foe to beat, because he's like very tanky and he does a lot of damage. So you need to have ways to ensure that you reduce that as much as possible. So how do you reduce his DPS? How do you reduce his tankiness? And of course, how do you reduce his speed? You need to bring espers that not only bring those buffs, you also need to have tanky buffs. But on top of that, one thing that I suspect a lot of people are missing out is that they're not able to upkeep their debuffs for as long as they can, or for as long as they are supposed to. And another issue is that some players run Sienna. Sienna takes a lot of multiple turns, and because there's a turn limit in this boss fight, sometimes you're not able to beat the boss just because of the turn limit. So believe it or not, this is how I beat that boss flaw. I am not using a lot of imprisoners here. One thing you should take note of is I'm only using 1 imprisoner, and that's Ahmed. Apart from Ahmed, I'm not using any imprisoners at all. And the reason why this is still possible is because even if you're not using an imprisoner, every single attack will still inflict 1 stack of blockade upon dealing damage, which means you are still going to be able to lock down the boss eventually. But most importantly, it's the reason why we are using some of these espers. So let me go through everyone one by one. We're going to start with Ahmed, okay? So Ahmed is like the most clear-cut esper here. He heals, he buffs, and he just keeps your team alive. And of course, on top of that, he's an imprisoner himself. So imprisoners will further inflict 1 stack of blockade whenever they attack. So they will have minimally 2 stack of blockade whenever they attack per hit. So for Ahmed's case, he triple hits, which means he lands 6 blockades per hit. Now next we have Gabrielle here. The way you want to build her is just like a speedy offensive esper. So she's here for the defense break. She's also here for some immunity and attack down as well. Attack down is very important. I'm using Yun Chuan here for several reasons. Number 1, he has miss rate on his first skill, and his third eye seal actually increases the miss rate of the boss as well. So that is a total of 65% miss rate up, right? So 50% here plus 15% innate from his third eye seal. But of course, on top of that, he also has a slow on his third skill, which is also very helpful in ensuring that you reduce the boss speed so that he don't attack you all that much, because he hurts a lot. And then we have Alice over here, whose main purpose is really just for the attack and speed up buff. The speed up buff also comes from Yunchuan, but Yunchuan doesn't cycle that well. But of course, her first skill also calls allies to assist, which is amazing for this setup. And then finally, we have Camille over here, and she is the surprise esper here. She is the reason why this entire setup works, and you'll be super surprised why she's here in the first place and how she's being used. So the way this works, and hopefully we can beat this boss, this is like my first attempt here. So the way this works is we are just going to debuff the boss. Wow, he's super fast now. Oh my goodness. Wow, he's freaking fast, dude. Okay, so we are just going to try to... Wow, we didn't even land our defense break. Okay, let's just try this again. Let's try this one more time. Oh, and in case you're wondering, no, Mateo's speed lead does not work over here. Yamato's speed lead does work in the Withering Messenger, the tower, this tower itself, but Mateo's speed lead does not work. It's very unfortunate. So what we're going to do is we're going to buff at the start, give ourselves a speed up buff, and yeah, currently this boss is way too fast, so it's going to be a bit of a problem, but I hope that his resistances are not that crazy. That's all I care about. Okay, defense break, please. Okay, good, we got a defense break, that's very important. Get a slow, and can we get a miss rate up as well? No, we can't get a miss rate up, but we can land the third eye seal. Okay, so what needs to happen here is we need our Camille to attack as often as possible, because we're not using Camille for her third skill, we're not using her for her second skill, we're actually using her for her first skill. So whenever she attacks with her first skill, she actually extends all debuffs on the enemies by 1 turn. So if you rewind the video a little bit, I actually have her on the Astral Avatar set, so that when the boss attacks me, I Avatar proc, I extend all the boss's debuffs, so it's as if the boss hasn't taken a turn at all, something like that. And now as you can see, even the third eye seal has also been lengthened by 1, so that's amazing. So we're going to save our third skill for the nuke that the boss is going to land right here. Hopefully Avatar proc. Can you Avatar proc? We didn't Avatar proc. Oh my god, the boss hurts like crazy, dude. Okay, Yunchuan is going to steal off the buff. We need to steal off the speed up buff, that's the most important one for the time being. So now we Ultra Heal, and we can probably get rid of the attack up buff now. Nice, very nice. Okay, and this has to be run on manual, unfortunately, because if you're going to run this on auto, you're probably not going to have a really good time. And hopefully whenever Alice normal attacks, she will call in Camille to assist. That is really what we need, so that we can extend the debuffs. Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes we may not be able to extend the debuffs. We got pretty lucky right now with our RNG, but if you fail to extend the debuffs, sometimes it might result in a rerun. And some of you guys might also have this question like, why am I running her on the Astral set? Isn't that eating turns? I feel like it's worth it. I feel like it's really worth it to eat turns. In exchange, you actually extend the buffs a little bit more, right? Extend the debuffs on the boss. I think it completely makes sense. I think it's very worth it. I could be wrong eventually, where the turn limit becomes way too narrow. I could be wrong in the future, but for the time being, I think it works out pretty well for us. Now, some of you guys also might have this question or this assumption that using Sienna will lead to you double taking, will lead to you double pushing the boss's AP. So if you take a look at this part over here, Thirst Grave, at the end of each target's turn, AP plus 10%. The thing is, for espers like Gaius and Sienna, they will not give double AP to the boss. They will only give 10%. It's the same for Chronos as well. So if you have used Gaius in Chronos, you kind of understand that you only push the boss's AP once. It's the same logic over here, essentially. And we did it! That's it! The 60th floor. Honestly, this was like first try, pretty easy as well. So using Camille is amazing. Like Camille, Yunchuan, and all the debuffs that we have, right? Like from Gabriel as well. All the essential debuffs. We have the defense break, very important for killing the boss within turns. We also have the attack out debuff, very important so that the boss don't one-shot you. We also have the slow debuff, and it's just a lot of good stuff. The miss rate up as well. Everything is really jam-packed into this entire setup, and it's perfect. So Camille is amazing for the Wither Messenger, and she is indeed a very secret cheat code that I'm super thankful that I found out about this, man. Wait, what? I'm not able to proceed further. Wait, what? Wait, what? It unlocks in 6 days? I just realized, oh my god. Nice. I am up to speed! Yes! Very nice. Okay, by the way, I hope this video helped you. If it did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Derek Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.